60 years after the U.S. Navy commended John Charles Newcomer, the community of Montrose is doing the same. John is being inducted posthumously as a recipient of the 2023 Montrose Hall of Fame Community Service Award for his outstanding service and commitment to many groups and organizations. In 1963, John was honorably discharged as an enlisted sailor in the armed forces. He served his country on active military duty as a gunner mate from 1958 to 1960 and spent time on the USS Willard Keith DD-775, which sailed the Mediterranean. His training, mechanical abilities, and sense of responsibility as a soldier in his 20s definitely contributed to his legacy and the brand of man he became. A man of the community is the title lovingly given by his children, Jay, Jeff, and Janine Newcomer. John was born on October 18, 1938, to the late John and Dorothy Capp Newcomer, who raised him with strong Christian values that only blossomed with age and time. His father, who also served in the military, taught him the value of hard work, discipline, and generosity. He graduated from Montrose High School in 1957. In his role as a brother to Jane, Robert and Carol, now deceased, Betty, and Mary Lou, he created a loving fondness for one another as siblings. He treated Mary Lou with extra specialness. "I was his baby sister," said Mary Lou. "He was a very kind brother to me. When he came back from the military service, he presented me with Chanel No. 5 perfume, a crystal necklace, earrings, and a bracelet." After raising their families, John and his siblings continued the tradition of eating lunch together. He started monthly lunch outings as a way to keep connected, share life events, and conversation. Getting married to Jean Marston in 1963 transformed the single military man into a husband and a father of 4 children. Jan, deceased at age 3, Jay, Jeff, and Janine. For the next 6 decades, John immersed himself in a life of giving to others through church, public, civic, community, fire department, business, and governmental acts of service. His children witnessed the ability to balance family, church, business, and community events. He was always working on something or helping someone. "We ate dinner as a family at 5, and then it'd be off to a meeting, event, or an activity," said Jay. His stats and community involvement are legendary and unprecedented. Montrose Fire Department, 45 years, retired as assistant chief. Business owner of Windrift Trailer Supplies Heating and Cooling, 40 years. Masonic Lodge, number 428 member, 50 years. Blueberry Festival Committee, 35 years, president twice and grand marshal. Boy Scout leader, 35 years. Montrose Depot Restoration, 10 years. Montrose Township Trustee and Election Inspection, 10 years. City of Montrose City Council Member, Election Inspection, 10 years. Voted Citizen of the Month. And Dee's Bakery, 50 years. Loyal customer and heavy coffee drinker. As a family and community man, John often combined his efforts. The various meetings he attended required many trips downtown. "If he was going downtown, I always wanted to go with him," said his daughter Janine. "Styrofoam cups would fall out of the truck," she laughed. The father-daughter bond went so much deeper. "He taught me to be independent," she said. "He passed on many of his handyman and household skills to me. I'm not afraid to try something. If something breaks, I'll fix it. But more importantly, there was never a moment I didn't know he loved me." There's no better testimony than a child professing their love for a parent. Working at Lyman's Hardware in downtown Montrose as a teenager in the 1950s and shortly coming home from the military helped him to develop valuable handyman skills and an aptitude to fix things. He was a natural John of all trades. He completed his General Electric course and became certified to sell and fix appliances. He worked at Windrift Trailer Supplies on Elms Road in M57 and eventually became the owner. He operated his own heating and cooling business for 40 years. His knack for repairing and installing heating and cooling units became well known in the Montrose community and was often called upon by family members and friends to come take a look at this. He also bought and remodeled homes as a side hobby. He was patient and calm and had a natural gift to teach others and pass on his talents. John enjoyed traveling to his cabin in Hale, Michigan, and spending time with his family, and in later years with his grandchildren, Chrissy, JC, Mackenzie, Griffin, Ethan, Emma, and Christopher. He generously opened up his cabin to family and friends and hosted family reunions, picnics, and 4th of July celebrations. John served the New Covenant Church in Clio for 40 years and was always, once again, fixing things. He served as head usher, set up for funerals, made and served the coffee and lemonade for every funeral for years. He came early every Sunday to open up the doors and greet people. The children loved him and called him Papa John. Pastor Dan Schinnebacher said he always wanted to see the church growing. He was faithful to attend Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night. He faithfully served the Montrose Fire Department for 45 years as a firefighter, as an EMS first responder, then retired as fire chief. He was known for his extensive vintage firefighter memorabilia collection that centered on the service of a fireman. John made quite the memorable impression on his first call in 1973. Before cell phones and pagers, there were ringtones on landline telephones which signaled there was a fire. Volunteer firefighters would answer their phones, talk to dispatch, and then race to the fire hall. The first to arrive would sound the siren and alert the community. He was wearing jeans, moccasins, and a lightweight jacket, recalls Jay. He didn't have any equipment on. He just jumped in the truck and went to fight the fire in the middle of winter. His passion was unstoppable. After fires were fought, eating donuts and drinking coffee at Dee's Bakery became a tradition for the firefighters. Walt Hammond, the bakery owner, always saved the misfit donuts for the guys, said Jay. For decades, John got up early to cook hundreds of pounds of chicken for the annual community firemen's picnic. He was proud to get all the chickens, salt them, and put them in a box to marinate. And honestly, it was some of the best chicken you'd ever have, said Jay. Watching their dad get up at all hours of the night to respond to a fire or an emergency or leave Christmas parties in a hurry to get to the fire hall made an impact on them. There were several Christmases we had to wait for him to get back from a fire before opening gifts, said Janine. The impression on his son Jay was deep, since he would follow in his father's footsteps and become a firefighter, then eventually a police officer. The father and son duo served alongside one another as firefighters for 5 years. He was truly dedicated to the fire department. It was his passion, said Jay. He taught me my work ethic in life and through the fire department. For many years, John used the fire hose to pour water on the ice skating rink, which was located near the senior center. I remember going in the middle of winter to spray it down, said Jay. Jeff shares adjectives to describe his father, who served as a Boy Scout leader for 35 years. Trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, reverent. These are the Scout laws and the very foundation my father lived. 5 decades of John's life was dedicated to the Montrose Masonic Lodge, widely known to make men better. John Newcomer was the backbone of the Masonic Lodge, said Charles Persons, former master of the lodge and treasurer. He kept an eye on everything and made many improvements. He was a pillar of our organization. John is considered one of the founding members of the Montrose Blueberry Festival, which he served 35 years. He built and fabricated the cast iron pancake griddles, which is still used today to flip pancakes. He welded the frames and put turn legs on them, said Jay. He added the grill plates and drilled holes for the pipes and oil containers. Lifelong friend and Blueberry Festival volunteer Connie Tripp said, "It was always husbands and wives and families that hung out together that were part of organizing and enjoying the Blueberry Festival. John and Jeannie were definitely a major part of that. The Wagon Wheels Camping Club they belonged to brought in many campers, and they promoted the Blueberry Festival at highway rest areas and campgrounds. That's partly how it grew." John served 2 terms as president, and he and his wife were recognized as Grand Marshals. "It seemed like they were always making yearly floats at our house," said Janine. "They were working on the floats using snowmobile trailers and pulling the Blueberry Queen around. John also helped stake out the campsites for Blueberry campers, and his children helped place 200 stakes in the ground." John dedicated his life to serving his country, his family, his friends, and the community of Montrose until the age of 81. When he peacefully passed away on his birthday, October 18th, 2019, John left a footprint on the Montrose community and is deeply missed. So please help us welcome John Newcomer into the Montrose Sports and Community Hall of Fame.